If you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected, you're not alone. I'm Dan Roberts, an internal family systems therapist and trauma healing specialist. I create guided meditations to help you reconnect with your inner calm and compassion. These practices are rooted in internal family systems therapy and are designed to support your healing journey, whether you're new to therapy or have been on this path for a while. You can find my full collection of meditations at danroberts.com or on Insight Timer.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Good Groove podcast. Thanks again for listening today. We are joined by Lewis, who reached out to us a few weeks ago after sadly losing his mum to MS. I just want to firstly thank you for coming on, Lewis. It's really brave of you, and also will shine a spotlight on MS today. Bruce?
So as of last year, an estimated 2.9 million people in the world had MS. So Lewis, over to you. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about MS and just everything about
it? So initially, kind of in simple terms, MS is something that where the immune system affects kind of your nerves and stuff like your muscle memory. So kind of it blocks them communications, brain to your muscles and stuff like that, which then causes signs such as kind of fatigue, kind of muscle memory, like I just mentioned, and other things, stability, unbalanced, which kind of was seen kind of in kind of the early stage of what my mum had. But yeah, that's kind of in simple terms what MS is, and obviously it affects people differently. Not just it kind of is a diagnosis where you don't see the same pattern with everyone else. It affects everyone loads differently. It can be quite progressive in some, and for others it can be kind of a not a kind of a gradual kind of thing, but
it's the like central nervous system, isn't it? So which is like your spinal cord up to the brain that it impacts. And obviously Rose has just highlighted that statistic, but actually, as you've said, a lot of people do live with it, don't they? And there can be different kind of degrees of how it impacts your life. Obviously, going back to your story, so when was your mum first diagnosed?
Kind of, well, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure it was before I remember, so but I think it was around maybe 22 years ago. So probably just before my sister was born, so like after my sister was born, so about 2004. And then for my mum, it was kind of the things of she started tripping up, losing balance, and it's simple things like that you don't really kind of think it's MS. Obviously, that's something that can initially happen in kind of day-to-day life. You trip up, you can feel unbalanced and stuff like that. So it's it's kind of signs that can be done, that can be seen in a way normal day-to-day life. And it was for me, my mum kind of started stumbling more often and stuff like that, which then obviously kind of she went to doctors and then they diagnosed her with multiple sclerosis.
In terms of the other symptoms that came up, was there other things that she noticed in those early days? I appreciate it was a long time, so you might not necessarily remember.
Yeah, fatigue was like one of them. I think going back to obviously what my family have said, my dad and stuff, that I just started getting tired, not doing anything differently. It felt more fatigue and stuff like that. But for kind of my mum, the main one was kind of stumbling and feeling very unbalanced at times. And I think when you start noticing things like that on a day-to-day basis, you kind of question what's going on. But like you say, it's kind of that that message to your brain that's kind of being blocked out, and then obviously your muscles then are not reacting to your day-to-day movements that you're used to doing. Like I say, it's things that can be done. Like if you feel tired, I feel tired, you think you just need a coffee. Do you know what I mean? It's normal day-to-day things and you don't realise, and I think that's how it started. But then obviously, like I say, it gets kind of progressive early stages as well. So that's what kind of, yeah, obviously my mum went to the hospital after that, and then doctors, and yeah, she got diagnosed with MS.
What does that first kind of look like? Again, sorry if it was too early on, but was there drugs that she was given? Because I know it from what we spoke about last time, it can be kind of quite a deterioration. So how did that look like over the years with her living with it?
From the early years, I can't really remember much. And I've obviously just look at obviously what my dad said and my aunt Bridget said and stuff like that. But I think it can affect people so differently. And I've known people who mum's got it and stuff like that, and they've had it for the same amount of time as my mum, and they are like walking around with a walking stick and stuff like that. Whereas obviously mum was kind of progressively got worse, where she was in a wheelchair and stuff, and gradually became in a situation where she was bedbound. Still able to kind of get out of wheelchair and stuff, but initially the kind of several months it's been kind of mum was bedbound. So yeah, I think it's strange because growing up you don't really understand kind of the aspects of what it is. I mean, especially from such a young age, and you don't know nothing different, so it's normal in a way. Do you know what I mean? That was kind of normal life in a way with my sister. But yeah, I mean, over the years, you do look back and you see how it got worse from, like I say, seeing your mum walking around and stuff like that, then using a wheelchair. But again, it's progressive. So at one point, you're seeing her use a wheelchair every once a week, and then all of a sudden it goes to like twice a week, 3 times a week. Do you know what I mean? But you've seen her in that situation, so you don't mentally, you already know what they look like in a wheelchair and stuff like that. So kind of your mental aspect doesn't change, and it's weird because I don't know, you probably think from kind of mine and sister's perspective, it gets harder. Do you know what I mean? And it did get harder. Obviously, it got harder. Seeing my mum deteriorate as she did, but you kind of mentally get to terms with it along the way. And I think that's kind of, looking back now, it's like one of the hardest things because you kind of pick out the points where it would get harder, and I think at the time, still being young, you didn't really process it. So
do you
yeah, I think that's
sort of, were your
that's the main
family open with you from the start? So obviously you were very young when the diagnosis happened. It must have been really hard for them to process. Were they open with you in the sense that, you know, she's not very well and she does have like a progressive illness? Do you think that sort of helped you cope with when things did get worse? I mean, I know you were around it in terms of seeing her in a wheelchair, but I can imagine sort of, you know, you would have always known that something wasn't quite right compared to sort of maybe other people's family dynamics.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, from the start, I mean, when I was growing up, my dad, like I say, my dad's been really good with stuff. With me and my sister, and growing up, and he's been there for my mum or the whole time and stuff like that. And not just obviously my dad, my auntie, my dad's side of the family. We were still one big family in a way. And we knew from early age. I think me and my sister, different things happened, hospital appointments, stuff like that, people coming around and doing stuff with my mum, physiotherapy, and then so you do kind of mature a little bit quicker in terms of that aspect. You can't understand that. But yeah, I think my dad was on kind of when we fully understood what was going off. We knew that, but like I say, for us kids, it was normal, but it didn't stop. It didn't stop us doing anything. We still had holidays. We still had, we were able to go out and stuff. Do you know what I mean? We're still her way of life was still the same as a normal. Do you know what I mean? Anywhere else, like nothing was happening. and her spirit was still kind of, yeah, this, that, yeah, you can do this, yeah. Did nothing change? Do you know what I mean? And Mum always put kind of us two in front of her, and every time she said she's okay, and you look back, you think you were, and it was. Now you think, growing up, you don't realise that. Do you know what I mean? And it's probably harder to now than when you was 14, 13, 15, and having to kind of do different things in a different way. But again, that was normal to us.
I guess with that, like, that is your normal, isn't it? And then I always find when you look back at yourself in younger age, for example, if you saw someone, when were you first when was your mum diagnosed, and how old were you? So it's 20 years ago, and you were
I would have been, yeah. I mean, like I say, it's probably about 5.
I was fine when you look at kids at the age of how old you were. So, for example, when you were 5, they seem so young, and for you, that was all you probably knew. So it's like you kind of grew up with that, and that was your normal. But it sounds like your family dynamic was so strong. Like it sounds like you had a really good support system, considering everything.
Yeah, I think obviously from 5 or 6, obviously from what I know, Mum was diagnosed, and like I say, it affects people differently. But Mum didn't it wasn't wheelchair from then. She was still able to walk and do stuff for so many years, and then it come to a point where I think we started to realise when I was 13, 14 or so, and 10 years, 9, 10 years, it kind of progressively started to get worse.
How would you say you manage those feelings? I mean, that's a pretty complicated age anyway. On top of noticing that your mum's deteriorating, how would you say you sort of dealt with that? Because I mean, it's not grief in the sense that you've lost someone, but you're almost, well, we speak about it quite a lot, don't we? Like anticipatory grief and stuff. I mean, there's such a complex emotion to feel, especially at such like a vulnerable age where you're so sort of like reactive to things around you.
Yeah, I think anticipation. Yeah, for me, I think for my mum it was looking at that, and obviously she lost mobility and lost probably more frequent, more recently, the ability to like move her arms and stuff. That's kind of grief in its own way, because I've seen my mum go from the stage of walking, which I can remember, even though I was young, I can remember that, and then going to mobility being lost, and that's grief. And then again, at 14, 15, when you're doing obviously everything else, it was, for me, I don't know, because I've always kind of, I don't think I used to take that kind of to kind of school at the time and work. It was kind of my personal life. So if I had exams and stuff, it was go to school, do exams, revise still. I was still able to, and do your best. And then I'd come home, and obviously, like everyone, they come home, they have personal life. It didn't change kind of what I was doing in terms of that, but obviously it was a lot different when times, if she was in hospital and stuff like that, when probably 14, 15, she was maybe went to hospital once every 2 years, or let's say once every year, and you start to realise what was going off, this kind of aspect really. So yeah, I mean, from now, I think like I say, it was normal for me, so I didn't really, you understand it, but you don't understand it at the same time. It's one of them situations, so you understand what's going off, but when kind of you go to school, it's not that you forget about it. It's you've got different stuff going off. Do you know what I mean? And you're kind of away from home in a way. But yeah, no, like I say, never stopped me doing anything, and Mum never wanted me and my sister to feel that way, or do you know what I mean? And me and my sister were so grateful that we got to do all this, even though the situation, because she wanted us to be normal. I don't think we wasn't normal. Do you know? I'm sorry. Don't think we kind of lived a different life to other people. Do you know what I mean? So
I think with, I mean, knowing my little brother as well, he's 14, and obviously just lost his dad suddenly 6 months ago. And I know for him, when our dad first died, he went back to school quite soon after. It was the school holidays anyway, but he went back straight after, because that is his escapism. That's what kind of gets him through day to day. And I think when you're at such a young age navigating any kind of loss, so in your case, that kind of anticipatory grief or the change, seeing your mum deteriorate, it's like you need that escape and you need that bit of normality and routine. I think you live very much in the present when you're younger, don't you? And you don't always have the ability necessary to look forward, or don't even want to. You just very much live in the moment. And how was school for you? Were they quite supportive, your friends and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, my friends who obviously you know of now and doing the run with, I think growing up, a lot of some of my friends' mums knew my mum anyway, kind of thing. We were friends at school, and then you grow up and you're year 7, year 8, and you divide times, don't you? And you go away, and then year 9 and 10, kind of like we I think as a big group we kind of got back together, and we're not got back together, but you start with football teams and stuff like that, so you start mingling and different things. So yeah, I mean, in a sense, obviously school knew about it and stuff like that, but it's like me and sister want to be treated any different. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a situation where we wanted to be different, pretty different. Yeah, I mean, obviously my sister's at university now at Lincoln and doing well, and I mean, it's just, yeah, I think overall the support from being at school and leaving school and now from especially my friends, it's been good. I mean, I don't think you can ask for better friends than what I've got. Just yeah, they've always knew, but I've like when we've been out, it's they've always, everyone makes sure that everyone have a good time. If something, obviously things happen in my friends' lives, and we always take it into account. Like obviously you get your friends out, you do stuff with them, you get them out of the house, stuff like that, and yeah, I think that's something. It's been massive for me, because I think probably when it did happen, I tried to block myself from a lot of people. Like just, I think you do. I think you kind of push yourself away because you just want to be on your own. And my mates were just like, you come into the pub, sat with them, like we're doing the off, and you don't. If just things like that, some mates don't even run. They've never even ran before, and they're doing a half marathon. I'm thinking, you don't have to. Like it's totally fine, but yeah, everyone's dead supportive. So family as well. Yeah, it's just so everyone. So yeah, I'm just really grateful, really, of kind of the Connect support system I've got and I had from such a kind of young age. I'm growing up and now.
That's so nice to hear that you've got such a good network of friends, and also you're able to talk about emotions, because I think sometimes it's a bit of a taboo subject, especially amongst men. So it's really important that you've highlighted how important it is to speak about it, and hopefully those listening to the pod can, have that courage to speak about it. My next question, and obviously we're gonna kind of go back to a month ago when your mum sadly did pass. Do you feel comfortable talking about what that looked like and how she did die?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, as you both know, it's probably one of the worst things you're going to go through as people in their early 20s, and yeah, it's the first time I got a text message was I was at Glastonbury, so it was Sunday, and I was going on to with my mates and stuff like that, and I had a text saying obviously that mum had been taken to hospital, but we were so kind of over the past year and a half so used to kind of mum being in hospital with chest infections, pneumonia and stuff, because obviously her immune system can't fight these things off So any sort of old, it doesn't just go from a cold; it progresses onto pneumonia, and the chest infection is quite frequent. And we knew kind of what happened when she went to hospital. It was she'd go in and you'd be put on antibiotics, so forth, and then obviously she started to get better, and she'd become a normal herself. And we went to go see her, and when we got back and stuff like that, which obviously the day after, and yeah, she wasn't getting better, and I think we knew, kind of me and my auntie, sister and dad and stuff, knew that this was something a bit more serious than chest infection. They came back and just said like it's sepsis, but she had sepsis before, sorry, but not as progressive as how this was going. Yeah, and they said they'd put her on kind of the highest dose of antibiotics and stuff. I mean, some of it's still a blur because you're still trying to process stuff, aren't you? And yeah, they just said like, if this don't work, it's the matter of 24 hours. And I think when a doctor pulled us in, sat us in a room, that was kind of the hardest part. Yeah, and when I think you sit you down, I think you have to go through obviously that process of them telling you that it can be 24 hours, 40 hours, and stuff like that. And yeah, I think we all looked around the room and we was like in kind of in shock, because my mum had fought so many times sepsis, pneumonia, and chest infections, and we was like, no, she'll get through this. And I think for the kind of them 2 days where she was with us, and last 2 days, it was horrible, obviously horrible to see. Yeah, it wasn't nice, and when kind of struggling to breathe and stuff, but yeah, it was kind of I'd gone home that night because I think I was there for probably 16, 17 hours. Bridget was like, just go back, have a shower and stuff like that, and fresh yourself up and stuff, and try and get some sleep and come back. And yeah, it was kind of when I obviously woke up in the morning at about 5:30, I was going to go straight back in. I jumped out the shower again and had a phone call missed, and I was like, oh, they was moving to the next ward, respiratory ward. And then you get the phone call of them saying that kind of she took a last breath. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, it's something I didn't expect to be now, even though mum had MS and stuff, you can still live to normal life expectancy. So that was kind of the hardest thing. And yeah, it's, as you can probably say, you still struggle, and it's been short.
Yeah.
Hard to do it.
It's such you're doing so well, first of all, by doing this, and we'll talk about the stuff you're doing for charity next. Just wanted to say thank you for sharing that. I know it's super raw and you're so early on in your journey. So first of all, like, credit to coming on and talking so openly about it. But we also want to talk about and shine a spotlight on what you're doing for charity. Because it's pretty incredible. So you kind of alluded to it already, but you signed up for a half marathon, or you were doing it already, weren't you, before your mum passed, and then your friends are joining you on it. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was already doing the half marathon. Someone from work only kind of gave me like a free pass because they're in a running club. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I do like the running, so I thought, yeah, it's another challenge, another half marathon kind of ticked off. And so yeah, I signed up, and then obviously mum passed away, and I don't think anything of it. And before anything was set up for charity kind of things, it was what my mates, like I said, just said previously, they took me to a pub and got me out the house. And yeah, basically sat me down and said, we're all doing it. And I was like a bit shell shocked and a bit upset at the time, obviously, and a bit overwhelming and stuff. And then we've set up after that, we set up a campaign called Move for MS. So it's basically kind of a small organisation that we've set up, like campaign, but we are raising money for a charity called MS Together, which is a small charity which focuses on people with MS from 18 to 35. I've seen the owner, Amy Thompson. I followed her on LinkedIn for ages. Obviously, she's the CEO of it, the owner. She's got MS herself, so I found the story quite inspiring. Really, like to follow it on my mum's situation, and I messaged her and got back to her straight away saying we can obviously sort something out and work with Move for MS to raise money, not for just the kind of the half marathon. We're looking at doing fundraisers throughout next decade. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be something that we're going to keep raising money for. So yeah, I mean we're looking at around £7,000 already, and that's in probably just over a month. So it's unbelievable. Like yeah, it's just so good. Obviously, it's down to obviously finding awareness and finding cures for hopefully MS in the future, and yeah, and as well, we just want to kind of, I think for me, it's helping if we can help children as well, and
Yeah.
that parents have not just MS but a disability or ill, and just say obviously you're not alone in this kind of thing, and it's something that I've been through, and yeah, it's just kind of to shine a light on that really, and just put a word out that obviously again not alone in any situation. So
It is incredible because, I mean, obviously we understand the journey of grief. Everyone's grief journey is different, but we all have the same emotions and darkness. And I think to find light in that and turn your pain into something that's going to help others is just commendable, Lewis. So well done for that. And also just talking about it, it's so important. You know, we said at the start, the stats around MS, so many people were impacted by it. So it's raising that awareness. How's the training going? Obviously, you don't need much, but your mates that don't, are they struggling?
Yeah, we're struggling. I know. To be fair, it's been dead night. It's been dead good to watch everyone. Honestly, like obviously in a friendship group with 14 of us. So imagine the group chat. Everyone's always loads of banter and stuff. But I mean, this past one been dead hot. It's been like so. What can I say? Heartful. It's been weird in a way. Everyone's like praising each other, and I think one time we just said like, "What is going on?" But in a sense, obviously come together, and it's been really good. I mean, everyone's getting involved, and we're doing like different things. So like, we've got a charity night on the 19th of September where we're doing like a darts charity night, and then obviously doing like a raffle and stuff. So just raising loads of money, raising more money if we can, and we've done like a bingo card where every member's got on the bingo list. If whoever picks a number donates money, and then there's like a funny video or a challenge underneath. So yeah, I mean everyone's just getting involved, and it's kind of it's just family. Some of my mates, girlfriends, are doing like cake sales and stuff. So it's just it's just incredible, really.
Seems like it was a great community with everyone. And I mean, what I've taken from this, I was gonna ask next about how, you know, you're coping with your grief and what you can kind of recommend to others, because as we all navigate this treacherous journey. But what I've taken is that you feel like togetherness is really important. And I guess going to something, is there anything else that is really helpful?
Yeah. like I said at the start, I was kind of trying to not push people away, but do you know what I mean? I would just want to stay alone time, and I think you don't realise that people are trying to support you in so many different ways, and I think don't try and bottle everything up and keep it like festering on your mind or in the back of your mind and trying to push it further back. You've got to deal with it straight away. And I think not straight away, but you've got to deal with it at some point. And I think it's better to get it out and out of your system when you need to. But for me, there's been times where I've bottled it up. And we'll be honest with you. And then obviously it all comes out in one, and it's worse. So yeah, just kind of take each day at a time, really. That was massive for me because I was trying to do so much in so little time that I had doing stuff, and it kind of, when you then come to the next day and you've got nothing to do, then it hits you, and you're like, wow, right, I need to start spreading stuff out and stop kind of trying to do everything and think, that's the best idea. Keep yourself busy. You've got to do it over time. Just socialising it and getting yourself out and doing stuff, and even if it is just a walk with, like I was doing with my aunties and cousins and stuff, and taking a walk, my dogs, taking on a walk with the dogs with my auntie and stuff like that, and just day-to-day stuff. And for me, football, it wasn't just, I've been at Carlton for 4 years now, 4 seasons, and the lads are, everyone, management and fans, you just don't understand everyone how supportive they are. And like in the football team, stuff gone off before with players where we've done things for them, spa days and stuff to relax. And honestly, it's the group we've got is so good. That's at football. Like I say, my mates, the group I've got there is so good. Family group I've got there so good. Work colleagues and stuff. And when you sit back and look at all that different groups you've got going off, it's you feel so grateful, and it's like I say, you don't understand, and it's until you sit back and relax and manage to just look at it, and you're thinking, wow, this is like you've got so many people who are trying to, I don't know what to say, trying to like kind of support you in what's gone off, and it's very.
Well, because obviously we only experience grief as women, and I feel like from a woman's perspective, men tend to not talk about feelings that make them, I don't know, feel uncomfortable and sensitive. I think it's more of a distraction thing. We obviously feel exactly the same, but I'm interested to know what you would say to a bloke that is going through something, similar to yourself. Either they've lost someone, or someone close to them is unwell. What would you say to someone that was sort of struggling and didn't feel like, he couldn't open up, or didn't feel like the resources were there for him?
I think I've been in that situation where you don't want to open up about things, and I have been there. Like I say, it's hard, but like coming on this podcast was something that in the back of my head I was like, it's hard. It's not hard, but it's something different, and it's something that now I'm sat here talking, I feel very kind of relieved and happy that obviously then your voice is kind of, you know what I mean, you're putting your point out there, and what you've gone through and stuff, it's out there. And like I say, if there's other men and stuff that are struggling, it's just don't bottle it up, and don't kind of think you're okay if you're not. Always reach out to family and friends and stuff like that, and make sure that or further if needed. Obviously, there's bereavement and counselling and therapy that can be done, and just don't bottle it up. Obviously, there's always good days and there's bad days. Like obviously we know lost a mum, and it's been the hardest thing we'll have to go through. I think you learn different ways as you go through grief, whether it's anticipation or whether it's kind of stubborn. And I think you learn different ways along the way. And obviously it's hard to say, go and do this, go and do that, because I've watched videos of people saying go do this, go that, and you don't, because you don't. You're like, I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? And you go out and do that. I think at some point you might go, right, I've had a really, really bad day today, or like this weekend's been horrible. I am through that, or I'm gonna go speak to my auntie or speak to my dad, or you know what I mean, little things, and it makes you feel a lot better. And then that next day you wake up and you feel, yeah, I've done what I need to do and get things off my chest, which probably the best stuff. Because you think about it, that's you're gonna bottle it up, and it's gonna be in there, his emotions are going again. So yeah, I think yeah,
Exactly.
From-
It's so important.
yeah.
But I think that's a really important message and something we wanted you to communicate today. I think, yeah, just as I said before, it's actually to feel around talking. And I mean, suicide's the biggest killer in men under 30. And I think a lot of dark thoughts, a lot of dark spaces can be resolved by going to get the help you need or opening up a space where you feel you're comfortable talking. So yeah, hopefully any guys or anyone that listens to this today has the confidence to speak to whoever it is. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Lewis, or any questions you had for us or anything you wanted to jump in with?
No, I think that's just really kind of thankful for letting me on and just speak about it. Feels good, you know what I mean, speaking about it, and yeah, I mean, I'm just thankful that you obviously messaged me back. I managed to get the ball rolling with setting this up and having a chat previous, and then coming on and yeah, just having a really nice chat about things. So thank you to you both.